We welcome you all to the 60th annual Madison Sports Hall of Fame banquet as we recognize some of the great athletes and their achievements in and around our great community. Tonight we highlight some of the great stories of the past year and also welcome 5 new members into the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. We'd like to start by welcoming our guests at the head table tonight. We ask you to hold your applause until the entire head table is introduced. At our head table, to my left, the Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club President Jim Scheidler. The FLAD Development and Investment Area Sportsperson of the Year winners, Oregon High School girls soccer coach Bobby Nichols and Oregon High School boys soccer coach Chris Mitchell. WISC TV Sports Director Zach Hanley. Edgewood College Athletics Friend of Sport Award winner John Probst. Our past club president, banquet coordinator Al Schumacher. Now to my right, the McClone Insurance Madison Sportswoman of the Year, Edgewood High School swim coach Emily Schwabe. WKOW Sports Director Carly Murata, the Madison Area Sports Commission Madison Sportsman of the Year, UW Cross Country and Assistant Track Coach Mick Byrne. WMTV Sports Director Mike Jocko Jocks. The Andringa family, Rob Andringa Multisport High School Athlete of the Year Award winner, Madison La Follette Senior Jackson Mankowski. And the reporter and voice of UW men's hockey, Brian Posick. Ladies and gentlemen, your head table guests tonight. And now let's welcome your class of 2023 to the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. Former Madison East multi-sport athlete in football, basketball, and baseball, and UW football player, a starting defensive end for 3 years with all-conference recognition, please welcome Gary Buss. A swimmer from Madison West who had 14 individual WIAA state championships and swam collegiately at Stanford and was an 11-time All-American while at Stanford, also competed in numerous national competitions, Olympic trials, and World University Games. Please welcome Michelle Jesperson. A Madison Memorial football, basketball, and track athlete who, as a running back and defensive back, led Memorial's football team to the Big 8 championship and to a WIAA state semifinal. He continued his football career at Taft Junior College and then to Cal Berkeley before playing in the Canadian Football League and winning the Grey Cup as CFL champions in 1993. Please welcome Doug Parrish. A Madison La Follette 3-sport athlete in tennis, basketball, and softball who won 9 varsity letters, then continued her athletic career at UW Green Bay, where she was a standout guard who scored over 1,100 points and became the all-time leader in assists for a single game, season, and career. Even more impressively, she also has coached basketball at the collegiate level and has been a director of athletics in high school and at the Division III level, the dean of athletics at Regis College in Massachusetts, and in her spare time has been a basketball broadcaster for college basketball on the ESPN family of networks, Fox, and CBS College Sports. Please welcome Pam Roker. He's from Chester, Pennsylvania. He's coached UW men's basketball and also at UW Milwaukee, also at UW Platteville. Overall record, 747 wins, 233 losses, 12 conference championships, 3 Big Ten tournament championships, 4 national championships while at Platteville, also took the Badgers to the Final Four twice. A man whose induction into this Hall of Fame will give him 14 different Halls of Fames he has been inducted to. 14. Please welcome Bo Ryan. Ladies and gentlemen, your distinguished inductees of the evening. Okay, I gotta catch up. I got so darn many notes and I got so darn many, you guys can sit. Why don't you sit? You've had great careers, you sit, okay? Oh, I'm, do former, why don't I have that? Right, yeah, former. Okay, I've been doing this for 15 years and I still can't figure out the order. Before we dine, let's welcome Fred McCormick, Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club member, for tonight's invocation.
Good evening. Welcome to all. I'm honored to offer this invocation on behalf of the over 100 members of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club, who meets regularly for lunch on Tuesdays, August through May, at Schwegler's Powhatan Lanes in Madison, and who make this event possible. Please join me in prayer. Let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the opportunity to gather together this evening for this annual celebration of the Madison Area Sports Club, our Hall of Fame Club, as we once again honor the outstanding athletes of the Madison area. We ask your blessing on the many individuals who've come before you, the athletes who've been blessed with the characteristics of fostering leadership, fellowship, camaraderie, and compassion throughout their careers. We thank you for the families, the friends, the coaches, the trainers, the medical personnel, and all the fans who supported them in their journey. This evening, 5 more outstanding athletes are being admitted to the long list of members of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. We're pleased to recognize these individuals and also those who have made special achievements during the past year. We ask that your Spirit be with them all now and throughout their lives. We'd also like to remember the many members of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame and the Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club who have passed away and are no longer with us. Let us take a moment of silence to remember them. Once again, we are grateful for your guidance to those who have been involved in the planning, the development, and the conduct of the program this evening. We ask your blessing upon the food we receive this evening and bless those who prepare and serve the meal. May this meal strengthen our bodies and nourish our minds. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Fred. Enjoy your dinner. We'll be back with you in about half an hour.
Get better each day. That thinking helped lead his Panthers to 3 state titles in the last 4 real seasons, including going back-to-back in Division II in 2021 and 2022. So again, there's pressure to keep that going, but Chris likes to remind his guys that the season is not a failure if they don't win state. He's more focused on a whole person approach and the journey they take from day 1 of practice to the final game of the year, which is why during their first meeting, he introduces his team to his 4 core O's: outplay, outsmart, outwork, and outclass. 4 things every time the Panthers take the field, they're expected to do. And 4 habits Chris hopes they'll take with them, because his job isn't just to win soccer games, it's, as he puts, to build them to be better humans. Oregon is not a big town, but in the sports world, it's known because of high school soccer. And the Panthers can thank Bobby and Chris for not only preparing them on the field, but more importantly, off of it. So please help me congratulate this year's Madison Area Sportspersons of the Year, Oregon head boys soccer coach Chris Mitchell and Oregon head girls soccer coach Bobby Nichols.
Yeah, pictures on it. There you go. The Edgewood College Athletics Friend of Sport Award is next. Your program says that our presenter is Dennis Semrau. About an hour before our banquet tonight, Dennis Semrau called in sick, a little under the weather, so hopefully he'll recover quickly. If you are the banquet coordinator and someone calls in sick to do a presentation, you become the presenter. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Schumacher.
Thanks, Jane. I'm sure glad it wasn't you that called in sick last year. although it could have been. The Edgewood College Athletics Friend of Sport Award is awarded to a longtime builder of sports and sports programs for many years. It is my pleasure to present this year's award to longtime friend of mine and sports longtime friend, John Probst. John was born in Menasha, Wisconsin, and graduated from St. Mary Central there. He graduated from UW-La Crosse with an undergraduate degree in Parks and Recreation Administration, and later added a master's degree from UW-Madison in Recreation Resource Management. His first job was as a 14-year-old scheduling Little League umpires in Menasha. Out of college, his first job was as a Parks and Recreation Director in Berlin, Wisconsin. Sorry, I almost said the wrong word. Berlin, which is just outside of Oshkosh, not over across the pond. At Berlin, he met his wife, Michelle. They have 3 children, Emily, Katie, and Ben, who are all outstanding student athletes in their own right. John moved to Madison in 1985, where he worked for the Madison School Community Recreation Program, beginning his career as a sports supervisor. He eventually served as the head administrator for all of the adult recreational sports programs before retiring in December of 2015. After retiring, following a 30-year career with MSCR, John said, and it's a quote, "A lot of the time I've spent training officials and putting leagues together, and I like solving those puzzles and I enjoy people so much. Every day was different because of the people are different, and they change. They come and go. They grow up with me, and it's just a labor of love. It really, really is." John worked with and took over the responsibilities from a Hall of Fame inductee, Dave Kelleher, whom he called a mentor and a great friend. Sometimes we all have to pick our friends better, John. Dave was the lead administrator, and John served as his deputy for the first 15 years before taking a lead role in the program. During peak participation, John provided oversight and scheduling for upwards of 900 teams and over 10,000 participants. Additionally, John was involved in coaching at Kennedy Little League, boys and girls Tri-County basketball, and East Side Sharks football. But at heart, he really was a sports official. John was a certified WIAA basketball, baseball, and softball official for 30 years and worked 8 WISA state basketball tournaments, 6 WIAA state basketball tournaments, and 2 WIAA state softball tournaments. He officiated over 700 games in his officiating career. He served on and is past president of the Southern Wisconsin Officials Association. He served as president of the St. Denis Athletic Association for 5 years as well. Now what does he do? He's not officiating anymore, so what does he do? He has served as a football game clock operator for the University of Wisconsin and the WIAA state football tournament for the past 9 years. He also worked at both the UW men's and women's basketball scores table for the last 7 years, and John has been the official scorers for men's basketball since Otto Puls's retirement a few years ago. John extended his scorers table's duties to include the boys WIAA state basketball tournament, where he's also worked at an official score table and spotter for the last 8 years. He's now additionally taken over the responsibility of scheduling for the WIAA boys basketball tournament. Besides his family, John wants to thank all of the officials and co-workers over the years that have made what he has done and continue to do a labor of love. It is my honor and pleasure to present the 2023 Edgewood College Athletics Friend of Sport Award to my friend John Probst.
The McClone Insurance Madison Sportswoman of the Year Award is next. Presenting the award is the first and only female television sports director in Madison history. She's really good at it. From WKOW Channel 27, here's Carly Murata.
All right, thank you, Jay. I have the honor of presenting the McClone Insurance Madison Sportswoman of the Year Award to the Edgewood High School swimming coach, Emily Schwabe, who has led the program to new heights. The Crusaders recently took home their 8th consecutive WIA Division II Swimming and Diving Championship. Emily was named the WSCA Division II Coach of the Year for the 2nd consecutive year, an award she also took home in 2018, 2019, and 2020. I really enjoyed learning about Emily's path to success, and I am glad I get to share some of it with all of you. Emily grew up in Waukesha and was a star high school swimmer. Her name is all over the state record book. She also holds over 40 school records. She attended Louisiana State for college her freshman and sophomore year before returning home to UW-Madison. However, her college swimming career was not what she had envisioned. She said it was tough and she did not see a lot of success during that time. She gave it her all for 3 seasons before calling it quits her junior year. Following her college career, she didn't feel the same about the sport and lost some passion for it. But those feelings all changed when she got into coaching. Her first coaching job was with the All-City Swim League in Shorewood Hills. The league is all about being inclusive and having fun, and not only did the young swimmers find joy in this league, so did Emily. This is when she started to remember what the sport is all about. Her first year at Edgewood High School was in 2014, and when transitioning to becoming a high school head coach, she relied heavily on her own experience as an athlete. She saw the good and the bad in the sport, and she wanted to relay that to all of her athletes. She struggled a lot, but also had a lot of success. She knew not everything comes easily, and that's what allowed her to be able to connect so well with her team. From the first day, she emphasized the Crusaders' culture. She wanted the young women to feel confident and to focus more on who they are becoming as people than as athletes. The foundation she set from day one paid off as 9 years later, she has 8 state titles under her belt. And she calls it the most incredible journey she never could have imagined. She gives credit to all the swimmers she has coached, specifically the leaders, saying if you give a high school athlete a microphone, they can teach you some profound things. This career has been so fulfilling for Emily, but she says it's time for her to step down. She decided that last season would be her final one coaching, and she's focusing on an even more rewarding career as a mom. She recently welcomed her son Reese just 6 weeks ago. She also plans to attend grad school at Marquette and pursue a career in mental health counseling. And as her son grows up, her biggest piece of advice to him will be to be vulnerable and never be afraid of what's going to happen. So please help me congratulate Emily Schwabe.
Our next award is the Madison Area Sports Commission Madison Sportsman of the Year. When people know you by just one name, you're special. You know, like LeBron or Messi or Jocko. The sports director at WMTV Channel 15, here's Mike Jocko Jocks.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say Madonna or Cher. That's close enough. I'm not sure, Al, who nominates people to be in the Hall of Fame or how this whole thing gets elected, because, you know, I'm just a sports guy, just give numbers and stuff. But if there's one guy that, if people are listening to this speech, I'm sorry, but if you're listening to this speech, I think Jay Wilson eventually belongs in this Hall of Fame because of the career he has had as a broadcaster. I can say nice stuff, right?
Yeah, boy, keep going.
Honored to be here once again. Last time I was here, I forgot my sports coat. So last year, I was suspended for a year. I was not here, but they granted me some reciprocity, I'm back. So it's good to be back here. Good to see all of our Hall of Famers. Welcome to the inductees. Nice to see you. Nice to see that you're out and about, and it's good to be here. So my assignment tonight is to present the Madison Sportsman of the Year to Mick Byrne from the University of Wisconsin, Director of Track and Field and Cross Country for both men and women. Now, this is how busy I know that Coach is during this time of year, that I called him like 8 times and he never called me back, which isn't the first time that's happened to me from coaches. But we've gotten to know each other a little bit here at the dinner table, and it's been amazing. Now, who would have thought a kid from Dublin, Ireland would make his way over the pond, make a name for himself at Providence, where he still holds a school record for the 4-mile relay back in 1977. I believe you were 5 years old at that time. But I was in college. I only run when I was chased. That's it's still a thing for me, as you can see. Wait, that's not funny. All of that's pretty awesome. But speaking of awesome, check out the accomplishments by Coach Byrne over his career. Mick has coached 6 Olympians, 1 NCAA championship team, 5 NCAA Final Four trophies, 11 NCAA champions, 86 All-Americans, 13 Big Ten team championships, 67 Big Ten individual titles, 37 school records, and 12 Big Ten conference champion records with 11 academic All-Americans. That, I told you, it's awesome. So they run fast and they're smart. I am neither. That's not fair. Mick has been recognized by his peers, earning 12 Big Ten Coach of the Year awards, 7 Regional Coach of the Year awards, and if that's not enough for you, shame on you. But he was named the National Coach of the Year in 2011. And this year, the Badgers under Coach Byrne just recently won the Big Ten Indoor Track Championship, and our friend from Dublin won the Coach of the Year award once again. Now, all those things are great, right? All those things I just read, but the best thing that I learned about Coach Mick Byrne tonight was that he became a grandfather for the first time, and you can throw all that stuff out because I know that's a lot better being a grandparent. And as Carly and I sat up here, we could basically listen to Coach Byrne read the alphabet in his Irish accent, and it would be entertaining all night. A hell of a lot better than I would be entertaining. So it's my great honor to introduce you and congratulate Mick Byrne, the Madison Sportsman of the Year.
Mick, where'd you get that jacket? It's beauty.
It's Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue. Looks like you won a golf tournament. The Heritage, yeah, the Heritage.
In Scotland.
Oh, Scotland. Okay, very good. Thank you. Congratulations. The Rob Andringa Multi-Sport High School Athlete of the Year Award is sponsored by the Andringa family. Here to present that is the voice of Badger men's hockey. We welcome back to our podium again. Here's Brian Posick.
Thanks, Jay. Great job, Al. Good evening, everybody. Congratulations to the Hall of Famers. That's very cool. Monday was May 29th, Memorial Day. It was a beautiful day. Sunshine, mid-70s. And I spent most of my day thinking about Rob Andringa, who on May 29th, 3 years ago, died of colon cancer at the age of 51. I miss him more as time goes by. That's what his mom told me on Monday, and I feel the same way. To honor their son, Doc and Phyllis Andringa, and their family, great to see Christy and Jack here today, among others, developed a new award that we introduced last year, the Andringa Family Rob Andringa Multi-Sport High School Athlete Award. To be eligible, a senior Madison High School athlete must participate in at least 7 varsity seasons of WIAA-sanctioned sports and distinguish himself or herself in their sports while maintaining good academic standing throughout their career. Now, Doc Andringa has long believed that all athletes should participate in multiple sports in their careers like his youngest son did. As most of you know, Robbie was a fantastic athlete, baseball, football, and hockey mainly, but Rob was good at everything. He didn't wrestle growing up. I'm sure he did plenty with his brother Jeff and maybe with his sisters too, but nothing organized unless you count the weekly wrestling events at the Badger Hockey House near campus back in the late 80s and early 90s. I think Mike Lucas may have covered those events. Apparently clothes were optional, and thankfully that was before cell phones and social media. And long before I knew Robbie. Not much, just a couple of years. Tonight we're honoring a young man who, like Robbie Andringa, is good at everything he does. Jackson Mankowski of Madison La Follette. First of all, Jackson carries a 3.79 grade point average with a wide range of AP courses to his credit. He's also been part of the dual language program since first grade, speaks Spanish pretty well, volunteered with youth, and coached flag football at the YMCA. On the football field, Jackson lettered twice, served as team captain, and was named first-team All-City last season while also making second-team All-Big 8. He's a 2-year captain and letter winner on the track and field team. He won the Big 8 Conference discus title this year, won regional titles in the discus and shot put, and at sectionals last Thursday, he finished 4th in the shot, just missed making it to the state tournament, but he took first place in the discus, so Jackson will be throwing this weekend at the WIAA state meet in La Crosse. While Jackson has thrived in the classroom, on the gridiron, and the field, he's excelled on the wrestling mat. He got involved at an early age, was fortunate to wrestle in France and in mud pits in India. At youth state one year, he went head-to-head with a kid named Braylon Allen. Named first-team All-State twice, first-team All-Conference twice, and 3 times a member of the All-City team, Jackson won 35 matches as a freshman for the Lancers. He didn't get to compete the following year due to COVID, and that seemed to motivate him even more. As a junior, he completed a perfect 44-0 season by winning the Division I state championship at 220 pounds, La Follette's first state champion in 28 years. He also accepted a Division I scholarship to wrestle at Stanford University. Now, the coaches at Stanford see Jackson as a heavyweight in college, and they asked him to bulk up and compete against boys much heavier than him during his final season of high school. So Jackson, who's always up for a challenge, I've been told, got bigger and stronger and more than held his own. As a heavyweight last season, Jackson went 50-5 and finished 3rd at the WIAA state tournament. Heavyweights in college weigh up to 285 pounds. Jackson only weighs, 235 right now, Jackson? Something like that? He's hoping to get to 255 or 260. So what does he eat to get to that weight? I asked him. Anything I want, he said. He had 3 pieces of cake before, and actually 4. I think there was another one at his parents' table. Jackson is the oldest of 2 boys. His younger brother, Truman, is 15 years old. He's seated over there. He might look like he's standing because he's 6'4" and 280 pounds. Can't imagine what the grocery bill is like for that family. Wow. I spoke with Jackson a week or so ago. I told him about Rob Andringa, who he was, what kind of athlete he was, the person he became, and Jackson said he's thrilled to win this award, name in Rob's honor. He also asked me to thank his coaches, Gary Skyle, Salvatore Schiro, Isaac Schaefer, Todd DeMonte, all of whom are here tonight. He wanted to thank his teammates, friends, and family, especially parents Melissa and James, for their love and never-ending support. It is my pleasure to present the Andringa family, Rob Andringa, Multi-Sport High School Athlete of the Year for 2023, to Madison La Follette's Jackson Mankowski.
Time now for the highlight of our evening, the class of 2023 for the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. Our 5 new members took very different and diverse paths to get here. In a little bit, we're going to hear a lot more about their Hall of Fame stories, and you'll see how remarkable their careers were. In fact, they are Hall of Fame careers. They've all made tremendous contributions to our community, from thrilling us on the field of competition to serving our community in so many ways. We ask our inductees, as their name is called, to please stand, then be seated again as your video presentation begins. At the end of the video presentation, Madison Sports Hall of Fame Club President Jim Scheidler will present our inductees with their brand new Hall of Fame plaques. And now, the class of 2023, the 60th edition of the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. Tonight's first inductee, Gary Buss.
Our first inductee tonight was never much one for nicknames. In fact, he never had one until one summer during his college days playing baseball in a semi-pro league. He was having the game of games at the plate, but after botching a couple of routine fly balls in the outfield, long before Jose Canseco made it a pastime, his teammates nicknamed him Clank, after the sound the ball made when it hit the sheet metal his baseball glove appeared to be made of. Gary Buss was born in Madison, part of the first wave of the post-World War II baby boom, the oldest of 4 children to Lorraine and Kenneth Buss. Growing up, it was easy to see he was a natural athlete at anything he tried. With a fastball Nolan Ryan would have been proud of, Gary was a dominating pitcher as a young boy throughout midget, little, junior, and senior leagues. Once he reached Sherman Junior High School, he got his first taste of competitive football and basketball. It was also the first time in his young life that Gary had a real coach. Buss was a 3-sport star at Madison East High School. He lettered 3 times in baseball as a pitcher and outfielder, 3 more in football as a running back and defensive back, and twice in basketball as a guard. Buss was a junior on the 1965-66 East Boys basketball machine that steamrolled opponents on its way to a perfect record before losing at the state tournament. In the spring of his junior year, his East baseball team started slowly, but began putting it all together at just the right time, and in a series of gritty, nail-biting, cliff-hanging games, won the 1967 WIAA State High School Baseball Tournament. Gary was honored with the W.M. Schmitz Award as the most outstanding athlete in the East class of 1967. Gary rented a cargo truck to help him manage his haul of high school hardware. He was first-team All-City twice, second-team All-City 3 times, as well as a multiple honorable mention selection. Buss was named to the All-Big 8 Conference football team twice. In 1966, his senior season, he was first-team All-Area and first-team All-State. He was also the leading vote-getter on defense. His All-State football coaches selected Gary as honorary defensive co-captain. The icing on the cake was making the high school All-American team as honorable mention. All the while he was loading those trophies into that cargo truck, the UW football program was taking notice. Despite scholarship offers from schools in the Big Ten, Pac-10, and Big 8 conferences, it was no surprise when Gary continued his career as a Wisconsin Badger. Back in the late 60s, freshmen weren't allowed to play with the varsity, so Buss paid his dues on the freshman team. By his sophomore season, he was on the varsity, a starter, and putting all opponents on notice. Despite his somewhat undersized frame, he lined up as a defensive end and began a 3-year assault on running backs and receivers. Buss was recruited by Milt Brune, but John Cota was the head coach when Gary made varsity as a sophomore. Buss played defensive end for Cota the next 2 seasons. His junior year, the regular punter was injured, and guess who took over? Gary Buss. Cota was fired then and replaced in 1970 with John Jardine for Gary's final season. Jardine installed a 4-3 defense, moving Buss from end to strong side linebacker. It was in this new position that he enjoyed his most prolific season, when he led the defense in most forced fumbles, most tackles for loss, and most yardage lost on tackles for loss. The fact that he led the team in any category is exceptional because his coaches moved his position on defense not once, not twice, but 3 times in 3 years. And oh, by the way, unlike today's game with its run and pass rush specialists who never see the field on certain downs, Gary Buss played every single down and started every single game during his 3-year varsity career. That same season, 1970, he was honorable mention All Big Ten and the recipient of the Ivan Williamson Award for Academic and Athletic Excellence. Gary was recruited to play football but allowed to play one season his sophomore year with the Badger baseball team and left his mark. He led the Badgers in extra base hits and slugging percentage and was second in batting average. He would have loved to continue playing baseball at Wisconsin, but the football coaches wouldn't have it. In the fall, after earning his Bachelor of Arts degree from the UW, he joined an international Christian missions organization called the Navigators and served at several campuses in the Midwest. Returning to Madison in the mid-70s, he met and married the love of his life, Kathleen Susan Butler, the daughter of Wisconsin State Journal Hall of Fame writer Tom Butler. At the same time, Gary began his law enforcement career with the city of Monona. After 17 years as a patrol officer and 18 as an investigator, he retired as a detective after 35 years of service. Sadly, in 1989, Gary's wife Kathy lost sight in her right eye, the result of an autoimmune disease. In 2000, she took a medical retirement from St. Mary's Hospital. In 2010, Kathy's condition worsened and left her a quadriplegic. Gary was the main caregiver, calling his new role both a challenge and the greatest privilege of his marriage. Kathy passed away in 2018. Gary and his 2 sons, Torrance and Tyler, continue to miss her deeply. Gary is proud these days to be a grandfather and no doubt spoils his grandson, and rightfully so. Gary says it's a great honor and humbling privilege to be inducted tonight as only one in a line of outstanding athletes, coaches, and writers in Madison sports history. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Gary Buss into the class of 2023.
And we welcome into the Madison Sports Hall of Fame, Gary Buss. Our next inductee, Michelle Jesperson.
Our next inductee tonight was disqualified from every single one of her events at the very first swim meet she competed in. But she emerged from that debut with a huge smile on her face, the work ethic, and the determination that would earn her a scholarship to Stanford and invitations to 2 U.S. Olympic team trials along her journey. Michelle Jesperson was born in Madison, as was her mother, Marcia. Her father, Carl, was born in Kenosha. She and her younger sister, Nicole, just about sprouted gills at a young age with all the time they spent swimming in a pool and having so much fun. In addition to swimming, Michelle also competed in diving as a youngster and spent many a summer competing in the all-city meet in both sports. Michelle credits her parents for introducing her to swimming. Mom had her in the pool when she was just 6 months old, and it wasn't only pools, but in Wisconsin lakes and rivers as well with her entire family. Michelle was 7 when her parents joined Hill Farm Swim Club, and that's when she began swimming competitively. Her days were filled with swim team, then swim lessons, water ballet, and diving practice. By the time she was 10, Michelle and friends were swimming year-round for the Badger Dolphins Swim Club. The Badger Dolphins were affiliated with the USA National Swimming Program. Michelle dominated state-level competition in her age group, earning Wisconsin Top Honor Roll recognition and High Point awards. In the 8th grade, Michelle qualified for her first junior national competition and won the 100-yard freestyle and 100-yard butterfly. In the summers, Michelle managed to squeeze in performances representing Hill Farms at the All-City Swim Meet. From 1985 through 1989, she took first place in either the 50-yard butterfly or 100-yard individual medley 6 times. She finished second in those 2 events 4 times. You don't become one of the best without great coaching, and Michelle credits the coaches of her youth, specifically Steve Roush and Drew Walden, as coaches who took great interest in her career and instilling the sense of confidence that helped separate Michelle from her competitors. Roush was also one of her high school coaches at Madison West, and he, along with head coach Tom Hargraves, watched Michelle transform into a dominating swimmer at the high school level. Michelle's teammates were pretty darn good too. The Regents won the team state championship all 4 years she was in high school. Individually, Michelle won 14 state championships in 4 years. That total includes sheer dominance in the 50 and 100-yard freestyle. She was state champ in each of those 2 events 3 out of 4 years. Michelle was also one part of the Regents 200 and 400-yard freestyle relay teams that won state championships 3 out of 4 years. She was WIAA First Team All-State as a senior in 4 events and Honorable Mention All-State in another. She won the WIAA Girls Swimming Athlete of the Year Award 3 of her 4 years. She was named WIAA Swimming Coaches Association Girls Swimmer of the Year twice. She was the Women's Scholar Athlete as a senior, when she was also an academic All-American. Back in the pool, Michelle was a 7-time All-American during her high school career. Once Michelle started swimming at the senior national level, she began to qualify for the most coveted events in USA swimming. At the 1990 U.S. Olympic Festival, her time in the 50-meter freestyle earned her a trip to the 1992 U.S. Olympic trials. The next year, against many of the world's best at the U.S. Open, she qualified for the 92 U.S. Olympic trials in a second event, the 100-meter freestyle. Michelle was a junior at Madison West when she finished 9th in the 100-meter freestyle at the 92 U.S. Olympic trials, barely missing a spot on the Olympic team. As you might imagine, she earned a Division I scholarship to swim at no less than college juggernaut Stanford University. She was a member of 3 national championship-winning Cardinal teams while there. She was a part of the 400-yard relay team that won the national championship in 1994. In 4 years at Stanford, Michelle never finished out of the top 5 at the national championships in the 200-yard freestyle. Among her other college achievements, she was team captain of the Cardinal her senior year of 96-97. As a junior at Stanford, she competed at the 1996 U.S. Olympic team trials, but unfortunately a separated shoulder suffered just a short time before the trials began, prevented her from turning in her best times. Michelle finished out her swimming career in 1997 in style. Swimming for Team USA at the World University Games in Sicily, she and her teammates earned a gold medal in the 800-meter freestyle relay. She stayed at Stanford after finishing her swimming career and added a master's degree to go along with her undergraduate degree. After a brief stay in Washington, D.C., she moved back to California in 2001 and plunged into open water swimming. Her interest in open water swimming led her to Lake Tahoe, Nevada, and the Trans-Tahoe. That's an 11-mile open water relay race across Lake Tahoe. Then it was the Maui Channel Swim, a 10-mile open water relay race from the island of Lanai to Maui. It was at this event in 2010 she met her future husband Walter, who was also competing. Today, Michelle and Walter's major interest is raising their two sons. Rowan is 10 and Griffin is 8. Each boy loves to swim, but if you ask them, they'll tell you that baseball is the most exciting sport they play. Living in California, the family spends as much time as it can enjoying the mountains, the ocean, and all the other natural resources the Golden State proudly offers. Michelle says her induction tonight gives her the same joy she felt as a youngster in a sport that she fell in love with, and one that gave her the confidence to set goals and a work ethic to achieve them. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Michelle Jesperson into the class of 2023.
Please welcome Michelle Jesperson into the Madison Sports Hall of Fame. Our next inductee, Doug Parrish.
Our next inductee can recall a childhood memory as if it happened yesterday. His youth football team was playing in the Little League Championship game. The game was tied. Two of his teammates and best friends told their coach to run a play for him to win the game. Now, this was the same play that our inductee had practiced at least 1,000 times on the side of his house. The coach called the play. Our inductee scored and his team won the game. Doug Parrish's story begins in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Born to mother Cora Bell and father Ned, Doug is one of 5 children. To understand how Doug's passion for the game of football was born, you need to know that Doug grew up in a home that was a stone's throw from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Before long, Doug knew what he wanted to do in life. His dream was to be a professional football player, like his idols, Franco Harris and Tony Dorsett. Doug's grandfather only lived a couple of blocks away, and on days when he'd go to visit his grandpops, he eyed up every mailbox along the way. In Doug's young mind, each mailbox was a would-be defender trying to prevent him from scoring his next touchdown. Those mailboxes never had a chance. When Doug was 14, his entire family moved from Tuscaloosa to Madison after one of his older sisters enrolled at the UW. Doug was a 3-sport athlete at Madison Memorial High School, winning 2 letters in football and basketball and 3 in track. He was a 3-event star for the Spartan track team. As a long jumper, he broke a 13-year-old Big 8 conference record in 1986 with a jump of 22 feet 5 inches. Doug also ran the 400 meters and anchored Memorial's 1,600-meter relay team. Doug was an all-city selection twice. He was also all-conference, all-area, and all-state in 1986 with a 6th-place finish in the 400 meters event. He was a running back and defensive back for head coach Wally Shesso, and it didn't take Doug long to make an impact. In 1984, he was a junior and helped lead the Spartans to the WIAA state championship game. His team didn't go as far when he was a senior, but Doug continued to raise eyebrows. He was named to the preseason All-American Blue Chip team, and he made a clean sweep of the postseason awards as a junior and a senior, winning first-team honors in Madison, in the Big 8, in the region, and at the state level. Everyone in this room knows how difficult and challenging the high school years can be. On the field or in the classroom, we've been there. But Doug had 2 more challenges than nearly all of his high school classmates: his 2 kids. Doug needed help. Much of that help came from the coaches he had at Memorial. No one played a bigger role than Wally Shesso, who was like a father figure to Doug, mentoring him on and off the field. Shesso and fellow coaches Gary Colpine and Bruce Dahman were people that Doug could go to for academic support and helped a young man begin to build the character traits and skills needed to succeed in life.
Doug is an outstanding man who has exemplified the values and attributes of a memorial Spartan and has gone on to do great things both in his private life, in his public life, running his business, and in his athletic career. And because of that, I am extremely proud of this man.
Doug's college career began at Taft Junior College in California. He picked off 2 passes in the 1987 JC National Championship game. Within minutes of that game ending, he was being recruited by the University of California, Berkeley. Parrish went to Cal on a full scholarship and led the Bears in interceptions in each of his 2 seasons there. In a 1989 regular season game in the Orange Bowl against third-ranked Miami, Doug picked off future NFL quarterback Craig Erickson not once, but twice on national television. Parrish transferred to D2 San Francisco State for his senior year. He returned kickoffs and played DB. He set a D2 record, returning 35 kicks for 1,002 yards, averaging 28.6 yards per return. In the 1991 NFL Draft, the New York Jets selected Doug in the 7th round, the 175th overall pick. Longtime Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll, who coached defensive backs for the Jets then, called Doug yelling, "Parrish, we just drafted you in the 7th round!" The next day, Doug was picked up at the airport in a limo. As he crossed the Brooklyn Bridge, he called his mom and said, "Mama, we made it." The Jets cut him after the final preseason game, but he soon signed a guaranteed contract with the Edmonton Eskimos of the Canadian Football League. Doug's dream now a reality, he played 6 years in the CFL and won a championship ring in 1993 with the Eskimos as they won the Grey Cup. After his playing days, Parrish set out to deliver on his second dream, a career as a successful businessman. Today, Doug is president and CEO of Red Dipper Incorporated, a C10 electrical contracting company based in San Francisco. Doug has led his company the past 13 years, and among his company's accomplishments is the installation of power to the NBA's largest scoreboard at the Chase Center, home of the Golden State Warriors. Doug is a passionate and tireless advocate for small, diverse businesses and their participation in federal, state, and local construction contracts. Doug serves on the board of the UC San Francisco's Anchor Institute, helping small businesses land contracts. His oldest son, Doug Jr., followed his dad's footsteps and also played football in his CFL with the Edmonton Eskimos. In 2022, Doug was selected into the San Francisco State College Football Hall of Fame. Doug says his induction tonight is a dream come true and one he will cherish the rest of his life. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Doug Parrish into the class of 2023.
Our next inductee, Pam Roker.
Our next inductee played sports made for warm weather, but she tried to play basketball year-round. She'd shovel off the driveway when needed and even try to resuscitate the ball when it froze up by thawing it out with hot water from the kitchen faucet so she could keep playing. Those were the days and the things that a kid will do when mom is at afternoon bingo. Pam Roker was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan, to Harry and Genevieve. Pam had a sister, Kim, and a brother, Ron. The family moved to Madison when Pam was a third grader. Her mom and dad's never-ending encouragement led Pam to try a whole bunch of sports growing up. Pam was in 7th grade when she got her first taste of organized sports. She went to a local park one day and wound up on a girls' softball team in need of a gritty, hard-nosed catcher. Pam's basketball career started when her parents signed her up to play in a 7th grade YWCA league. It was a perfect fit. Pam's team was coached by La Follette High School star Stacy Ammon, and her love for the game of hoops was born. One of the greatest moments of her young life took place when she got off the school bus one day to the sight of her dad nailing a rim and backboard to the roof of their house. Pam and the neighborhood boys wore that one out and a couple of more. Pam says her dad was a real girl's dad long before it became popular and cool to be one. He'd get Pam whatever she needed to play whatever it was that Pam wanted to do or play next. Her entire family was supportive. Her mom drove her whenever she needed to be someplace. The entire family would be at her high school games or matches to cheer her on. No one tried to coach her, and that really sunk in as her career continued. Pam credits her dad for helping her decide to play high school tennis, and she's forever grateful he did. She played tennis, softball, and basketball at La Follette. Her Lancers teams made it to the WIAA state tournament in all 3 sports while she was there. Her softball team was state runner-up in 1978. Pam was named All-City in tennis in doubles as a junior and senior. She made the All-City girls basketball second team as a junior and first team as a senior. She was all Big 8 in basketball her senior year. Roker was in high school during the early days of Title IX, and she remembers with fondness and appreciation the lengths her La Follette coaches and the administration took to ensure that girls' sports were on the same footing as boys' sports. She was given a chance to walk on at the UW to play basketball, but once again her father helped her make a decision she smiles about to this day. Dad said, "It might be better to be a big fish in a small sea." And with that, she was off to UW Green Bay, a decision she's never regretted. She started for 3.5 seasons with UWGB and finished her collegiate career as a 1,000-point scorer and all-conference selection. She was the first woman named Academic All-American at Green Bay. And by the way, she still holds all the assist records in program history. Single game, season, and career 40 years after she finished playing. Roker says UW Green Bay was a leader at the collegiate level in its support of Title IX. Women's basketball was a priority from the chancellor's office to the team bench. Next up was a D1 coaching and administrative career that lasted 15 years. She was head coach at Wagner College for 9 years and head coach at Loyola of Chicago for 1 season. Pam was also an assistant coach at the University of Massachusetts Amherst and at Seton Hall. Pam also excelled as a guest speaker at basketball camps in the Northeast. She did this for 28 years, focusing on the same fundamentals that helped her become a special player: dribbling and ball handling. She's been the athletic director at 2 Boston area colleges for the past 19 years. Pam was AD at Emmanuel College for a dozen years, and she's currently in her 7th year as the Dean of Athletics at Regis College in Weston, Massachusetts. Pam's also a very busy and highly sought-after freelance television basketball analyst on a variety of regional and national outlets, including ESPN's network of offerings. She's the primary analyst for the Northeast Conference, Providence College of the Big East, and the University of Massachusetts Lowell of the America East Conference. Pam says the opportunity she's had to coach, mentor, teach, speak, and work with college-age student athletes has been the thrill of a lifetime. When there's free time, you'll find Pam and her wife Sandra at concert venues enjoying their favorite singers and groups. No one is a more die-hard Green Bay Packer fan than Pam. She and Sandra travel all over the world, including this past season's game in London to watch the green and gold. She and Sandra will celebrate their 9th anniversary this July, and without doubt their 5-year-old puppy, the Clan, will be getting a piece of the cake. Pam left Wisconsin in 1985, but she never left her commitment to excellence. She says her lifetime commitment to being the best that she could be was forged right here in Madison, at places like La Follette High School and Old Brick Park. Surrounded by exceptional coaches, teammates, opponents, and administrators who provided the competitive fire, support, and friendships that have lasted a lifetime. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Pam Roker into the class of 2023.
Our next inductee, Bo Ryan.
The typical newborn doesn't possess the ability to counterattack a suffocating half-court press, but our next inductee was born with the genealogy to instantaneously dissect an opposing tactic, disarm it quicker than you can say turnover, and turn it into 2 of the easiest points ever scored on a hard court floor. Bo Ryan was born in 1947 in Chester, Pennsylvania, to Louise and Butch Ryan. In case you never heard of his father, all you need to know is that Butch was to basketball in Greater Philadelphia what another famous Philadelphian was to the lightning rod and electricity. So Bo started playing the game of basketball as a young boy under the tutelage of a master. Now, Butch didn't want to be the reason Bo played sports, so Bo often wore the jersey of the opposing team, playing against his dad's team. Some days, that didn't work out very well. In one game, Bo scored 40 points against his dad's team. The two didn't talk for the next 3 days. Before long, Bo was a darn good point guard. By the time he entered Chester High School in 1961, he was already a leader on and off the court. Bo was class president and lettered in 3 sports: football, baseball, and basketball. In 1965, he led Chester to a 25-1 record as a senior, enjoying one of the greatest seasons the area has ever seen. Bo had hopes of taking his game to Temple or Rutgers, but with his high school coach taking a new job as the head coach of Wilkes College in northeastern Pennsylvania, and hoping that Bo would follow him there, Bo did. 3 years later, Bo was a junior at Wilkes and averaged nearly 14 points a game, as the Colonels had their first winning season in more than a decade. Every college senior dreams of being drafted, and Bo was, just not by an NBA team. The Vietnam War was an American living room fixture when the Army drafted Bo, and he began his 3-year stint as a military policeman. When his commitment was finished, he returned to the Philly suburbs in search of a teaching and coaching opportunity. He found it at Brookhaven Junior High and taught social sciences while coaching basketball and baseball. 8 years later, he got a phone call from someone named Bill Cofield, And before long, Bo was on an airplane bound for Racine. He spent one season on Cofield's staff at NAIA Dominican College. The school closed at the end of the year and Ryan landed back in Philadelphia, but not before leaving Dominican as Coach of the Year in baseball. Bo spent the next 3 years racking up coaching awards as the head basketball coach at Sun Valley High School before Deja Vu put him on a bench alongside Cofield again, this time as a Wisconsin assistant. In 1984, Bo took his first collegiate head coaching job at UW-Platteville, and in storybook fashion led the Pioneers to 4 D3 national championships in the next 15 years. Next stop on the Ryan coaching ladder was D1 UW-Milwaukee in 1999. We stop here for a moment and take a short trip west on I-94. The year is 2000, and after leading the UW to the NCAA Final Four the previous spring, Dick Bennett suddenly retires 2 games into the season. After the season ends, Wisconsin announces the search for a new head coach. Long story short, Bo Ryan is hired by Pat Richter in 2001. What had by then already endeared Ryan to college basketball fans throughout Wisconsin began to be appreciated by basketball people across the country. Bo Ryan put Wisconsin hoops on the NCAA map. Where do you start? Maybe the 2001 season, at the very beginning, when Bo took a lightly regarded Badger team and led it to a 4-way tie for the Big Ten regular season title and an NCAA tournament berth. Or maybe the next season, when the Badgers won their first outright conference championship in more than half a century and made it to the Sweet 16. Or maybe the 2004-05 season, when Bo led the UW to the Elite Eight. Then there's the 2007-08 season, when the Badgers won both the Big Ten regular season and tournament titles and made another Sweet 16 run. How about 2013-14, the season Bucky started 16-0, was a 2-seed in the NCAA tournament, and lost in the Final Four on a last-second shot. But maybe you start and finish in what would turn out to be Bo's final season at the helm in 2014-15. Wisconsin won the Big Ten regular season and tournament titles and became the first Badger team to earn a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament in school program history. Wisconsin made a historic run to the tournament championship game, first by beating number 1 and previously unbeaten Kentucky, before stubbornly losing the national championship game a couple days later to Duke. Then, just halfway into the next season, Bo abruptly announced his retirement, and top assistant Greg Gard took over. Bo Ryan won 364 games in 14 years with the Badgers, making him the winningest coach in Wisconsin Badger history. The Badgers landed a berth in the NCAA tournament every single one of those 14 seasons. He led the Badgers to back-to-back appearances in the NCAA Final Four, and Bo owns all 4 of Wisconsin's 30-win seasons in program history. In 30 seasons as a college basketball coach, Bo Ryan won 727 games. He's been a Coach of the Year recipient at both D1 and D3. He coached Team USA to 1 gold medal and 1 bronze medal at the World University Games, and another gold medal at the Olympic Festival. Bo has written 3 books. He and wife Kelly have 5 children and 8 grandchildren. They enjoy their time together here in Madison and Palm Springs, California. Tonight's induction is his 14th into a Hall of Fame. The Madison Sports Hall of Fame and Strand Associates Incorporated are honored to welcome Bo Ryan into the class of 2023.
We thank you all for joining us for the 60th Annual Madison Sports Hall of Fame Banquet. Congratulations again to all of our award winners, and again, congratulations to our new Hall of Fame inductees. A reminder that tonight's ceremony has been recorded in its entirety and will be available for viewing on the club's website, and it'll be on its Facebook page in about a week. We want to thank Al Schumacher for doing a great job in putting this Hall of Fame banquet together. According to Al's pre-banquet timeline, we are 3 minutes ahead of schedule. Well done. We appreciate the support of our sponsors and appreciate all of you in the audience as well for taking the time out from your busy schedules to help us celebrate a very special evening. Thanks again for coming, and good night.